When I started playing Echoes of Wisdom, I immediately fell in love with it. The music, the enemies, the dungeons, they're all so charming. But there is one thing which infuriates me about this game. See, after you complete the first few dungeons, there comes this moment in the story when Zelda is finally able to take off her hood and match the appearance we see of her on the box art. This got me really excited because I love the way that Zelda looks when her hood is pulled back. But then, fast forward 2 minutes later and the hood went back up. Now, understandably, I thought to myself, oh, this must be some sort of toggleable option in the main menu, right? Or maybe Hoodless Zelda is an unlockable outfit. So I went to the internet to find out how to play as Hoodless Zelda. And to my horror, it's impossible. It is impossible to go back and play as Hoodless Zelda. Those 120 seconds that I had with her, that's it. The developers did not add an option to toggle the hood on or off. Now, some of you might be saying, well, hey, that makes sense. Zelda is supposed to be undercover, right? But anybody who's played this far into the game knows, well, if you know, we should be able to play as Hoodless Zelda after this point. Now, I'm not gonna pretend that this is some
giga-huge problem that ruins the game.
Because in the grand scheme of things, it's not. It's a nitpick. Echoes of Wisdom is still a 9.9 out of 10 game in my mind. But if you're going to advertise the game as being like this, then why won't you let us play as this? Especially when it's playable in the game for those 2 minutes. Did the developers learn nothing from the hood situation in Tears of the Kingdom? And as if the whole situation can't be even more awkward, Nintendo of Japan released advertisements of Hoodless Zelda being playable in the overworld. But for some reason, no, we're only allowed to play as this version of the princess for 120 seconds, localized entirely within Hyrule Castle. It's just bonkers. I don't understand. Now, I get it. There are other outfits that you can wear which allow you to play as Princess Zelda without her hood on. But honestly, I don't really want to play with those outfits. I want to play with the one they advertised with, the one on the box art. The popular YouTuber Ratatosker, who made a video on Tears of the Kingdom, put it best when he said this.
When I play Breath of the Wild, when I play a lot of video games, I like to look like the default character. I like to look like the character from the promotional material.
And that just sums up my thoughts entirely. Like, this is the default version of Zelda that we imagined when we were jumping into this game. So why can't we ever play as this version of Zelda? I mean, how misleading is it to advertise your first female protagonist in a Zelda game as having their hood down, and then you end up covering her face the entire time whenever you use the default outfit? That right there is my biggest problem in an otherwise awesome Zelda game that's easily in my top 5. It just seems so easily fixable. I just wish I could ask the company like, hey, why did you do that? And could you please fix it? Except, maybe we can. It turns out that because of one simple fact, it might actually be possible to ask the developers to fix this tiny mistake. And that simple fact is this: Echoes of Wisdom wasn't made by Nintendo. It was actually made by a little company known as Grezzo with the supervision of Nintendo. And when I say little, I'm not exaggerating. Most major gaming companies have anywhere from 10,000 to 2,000 employees. Nintendo is smaller. It only has 7,000 employees, although only 2,000 of them are directly hired by Nintendo, with the rest of them being hired by subsidiaries or sub-companies. Which is actually kind of funny when you think about it, because it means the developers of Fortnite have more direct employees than Nintendo does. Go figures. But then, underneath all of that is Grezzo, and it only has 91 employees. Even on Twitter, they're a small company. I mean, look at this, 800 followers. I don't even use Twitter that consistently, and I have more followers than that. Additionally, in interviews leading up to Echoes of Wisdom, the producers and directors of this game relied heavily on feedback from Grezzo employees for ideas. Terada says, after all the remakes we had been working on, this was the first time we were challenged with a new game project from the conceptual stage. There was even a time when every single one of Grezzo's employees was thinking about ideas. Aonuma adds, this time we asked everyone, not only the project planners for the game, but also the designers and programmers to come up with lots of ideas. And even when designing the story, they relied on collaboration to generate ideas. As Aonuma adds, I went back to the hotel, quickly wrote a script that would work, and brought it with me the next day. Then we all contributed various elements that often occur in the Zelda series to the script. Using this method, we eventually completed the game's story. What I'm trying to say is, Echoes of Wisdom is not your normal Zelda game. It is a game that was supervised by Nintendo, but inspired by the feedback of all the staff at Grezzo, not just the higher-ups. It is the complete opposite of how Nintendo works. Grezzo is a company that might actually listen to feedback, and we want to leverage that to make a difference. What I'm trying to say is this. Myself and dozens of other YouTubers are starting a positivity campaign to reach Grezzo and ask them if they could add Hoodless Zelda to the game. The one that they showed on the box art. And we're calling the movement #HoodlessZelda. Here are the steps that we need to take to make this work. Step 1. On Halloween Day, October 31st, we are going to rally the entire Zelda community to go onto Twitter and spam Grezzo with tweets about how much we love Echoes of Wisdom. Now, this step is crucial because the last thing we want to do is scare Grezzo away from interacting with fans on social media. No, nobody wants that. Instead, we want them to know how much we appreciate the work they put into this game because we believe positivity will speak louder than hate. And that includes following them on Twitter. Like I said earlier, they only have 800 followers, and I'm sure they would appreciate getting help bumping up those numbers. We should easily be able to quadruple their followers by the end of this movement. That is step 1. Step 1.5 is this. In each of those same tweets from earlier, the Zelda community also needs to ask if Grezzo can add Hoodless Zelda to the game. That way, they know what we're asking. It also wouldn't hurt to add some reasons why you believe Hoodless Zelda should be included in the game. For example, I love horses in Echoes of Wisdom. I named this one Chubby, but it would look better if I could ride Chubby without this hood in my face. #Hoodless Zelda. Hey, Grezzo, thank you for making a Zelda game with cool dungeons in it, but could we please have #Hoodless Zelda added? Or, this game saved my marriage, but also could you please add #Hoodless Zelda? The key thing is we want people to be respectful as they are asking for Hoodless Zelda. When it comes to the number of tweets that we need for this movement to be trending on Twitter, I recently reached out to Twitter wizard Bea for tips on how many we would need. Bea explained we would need at least 2,000 tweets with the phrase #Hoodless Zelda in order to be trending. However, if we manage to get to 5,000, that would really seal the deal. But everybody is gonna need to be cooking for us to reach those numbers. Meanwhile, as the Twitter movement is going on, myself and a couple other people are going to be contacting gaming news sites ahead of time to let them know about the movement and spread awareness. And yes, I'm dead serious about this. We are making Hoodless Zelda viral. But for this movement to work, we need everyone to buy in. Everyone has to help. Even you, the person who doesn't use Twitter. We need you to help by telling all your friends about Hoodless Zelda, commenting on all your favorite YouTube channels with Hoodless Zelda, telling your Discord servers about Hoodless Zelda, putting up Minecraft signs about Hoodless Zelda, even telling your grandma about Hoodless Zelda. Why not? I told mine, she's 89 and she knows about Hoodless Zelda. Why don't you? It doesn't matter where you are on the internet. Everybody needs to know. Halloween Day, everybody, #Hoodless Zelda. And what better day to ask for the inclusion of more costumes in our favorite Zelda game than on the day designed for wearing costumes? Obviously, don't be spammy about this movement, but respectfully, bring up Hoodless Zelda with everybody you meet. I, for one, added the hashtag to my Discord status, my YouTube banner, and now I am saying #Hoodless Zelda at the end of all my text messages. Hey, nice job on that latest video, Grazzy. #Hoodless Zelda. Now listen, I get it. Online campaigns are fickle and they rarely work. You might be skeptical, and that's all right. So if you have any questions, I'm gonna try and address them right now. First off, some of you might be thinking, oh, I don't know, I don't wanna nag a company like Grezzo to fix their game. If that's you, that's okay, but understand this. The point of the #Hoodless Zelda campaign is not to force Grezzo to add Hoodless Zelda, it is to ask if Hoodless Zelda can be added. It's the difference between going to Subway and demanding, make me a sandwich, or going to Subway and saying, could you make me a sandwich? It's never wrong to ask reasonable questions. Additionally, this movement is not going to nag or hurt Grezzo. Far from it, it's going to benefit the company by promoting their latest game. I don't know if you've realized this, but video games don't stay relevant for nearly as long as they used to, and most of the major news gaming websites aren't covering Echoes of Wisdom anymore. So one of my hopes is that even if Hoodless Zelda doesn't get added to the game, we can at least help out the developers by making their game relevant for a little bit longer. So if you are in that camp of people who are worried about nagging the company, those are some of the reasons I would hope you would reconsider, because we are genuinely trying to help out Grezzo, we're not trying to annoy them. That's also the big reason we're asking people to be respectful as they ask for Hoodless Zelda, because if you aren't being respectful, I don't want you to be a part of this movement. You should leave. Anyways, second point. Some people are probably thinking that a movement like this has a low chance of succeeding. To that, I say, even if the odds are against us, even if it's only a 1% chance of success, That's way better than having no chance at all. I'm about to sound like your annoying dad, but seriously, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So why not take the shot? And if nothing else, this movement will be fun and silly. Third question. Let's say that Grezzo does hear about the movement and hears all of our questions about adding Hoodless Zelda to the game. Why should Grezzo or its parent company Nintendo care? Well, I'll tell you why. Christmas exists. The holiday season is notoriously the most profitable time of the year in the gaming industry, and companies will pay more for ads during December than any other time of the year. Do you wonder why Echoes of Wisdom released in the middle of September instead of a more reasonable time like, I don't know, the end of the school year when kids have free time? It's because it's designed to be a stocking stuffer. Echoes is being pushed for a holidays release. But why should Nintendo pay for ads when Twitter and these gaming news articles can do it for you? Think about it, the story writes itself. Quote, Nintendo listens to fans, giving Zelda more clothing options, end quote. Now. I'm not saying that somehow magically by adding Hoodless Zelda to the game and then having an update that gets onto a few news sites, it's going to sell 100,000 copies of the game. I am not that much of an optimist. However, realistically, it could be helpful at reminding people that Echoes of Wisdom exists if they do it right around Black Friday and the Christmas season. I'm just saying. Fourth question. How would Grezzo add this option of Hoodless Zelda to the game? Well, I proposed one earlier, but I'll repeat it again amongst two other solutions that we have. Option number one is a simple toggle button built into the menu. This would be the easiest solution for the player, but might be tricky on a technical side. The option to toggle your hood would become available after you complete the first 4 dungeons. Option 2, which is the one I proposed earlier, would be adding a separate outfit to the menu screen. This new hoodless outfit would also become available after you beat the first 4 dungeons. And then there is option 3. With this option, Grezzo makes it possible to interact with the mirror in Zelda's room, which would allow you to make the hood go up or down. Those are some of the ways that we believe a hoodless Zelda variant could be added to the game in time for the holiday season. But before I go on, I just want to give a reminder to everybody that even though what we are asking for is a relatively small update, it's not necessarily easy to make updates like this for games. As fans of games, we often forget how difficult it is to make said games. For example, let's say that Grezzo adds Hoodless Zelda as an extra outfit to the game. That seems like a small request, but even then it would require them to create a new sprite, playtest the new outfit for dialogue encounters, add new text, and then translate that text for players who read in Japanese, English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, Korean, and a ton of other supported languages. What we are asking is not an easy request of Grezzo or Nintendo. So make sure that as we are asking for Hoodless Zelda, that we are being respectful, because it's a lot harder than you think it is. Question 5. Why not just mod the game if you want to play as Hoodless Zelda? Well, a few reasons. Number 1, mods are finicky to set up. Number 2, Nintendo doesn't like emulation. And number 3, most people want to play the game on the original hardware anyways. On a similar note, I don't want to have to perform any glitches to play as Hoodless Zelda either. Glitches are cool, I get it. I mean, I grew up with Eggbusters. Glitches are cool, but they're usually finicky. They come with a lot of caveats when you're trying to do the glitch. They require some setup, and then you gotta watch a tutorial, which completely breaks your immersion in the game. We don't wanna have to use glitches to play as Hoodless Zelda, which isn't even a thing right now. Nobody knows how to play as Hoodless Zelda outside of Hyrule Castle. But even if it were discovered, it probably would not be the answer to our problems. This is why we want Hoodless Zelda to be added into the vanilla game, without any mods and without any glitches. Second to last question. Some people have been asking, hey, how is Grezzo even gonna know about this movement or what it's about when they're a Japanese company and all of these tweets are gonna be in English? Don't worry, we have you covered. A couple of days in advance of Halloween, me and a couple other YouTubers are going to pen an email that we will send directly to Grezzo to let them know that the movement is happening. So they will be fully aware of this on the day that we do it. And now for one last question. Are you, the Bread Pirate, helping this movement in order to get publicity and views? Absolutely not. Gee, come on guys, okay, have a little bit more faith in me. No, I helped start this movement because I was genuinely frustrated that Nintendo had the audacity to put this really cool outfit on the box art and teased us with it in commercials and all this art and then only let us play with it for 2 minutes in the game. When it clearly is functional and finished, they just didn't add the option to switch between the hoodless and the hooded version of Zelda. And that just boggled my mind, especially after Tears of the Kingdom. That's why I am helping this movement. However, as a sign of good faith, I'm also going to be disabling the monetization on this video and any future video I release until this movement is finished on Halloween Day. And that is it for the questions. If anybody wants to contact me for an interview, my contact info is in the description below. Also, if anybody knows any Japanese Zelda fans on Twitter or YouTube, we would love to spread the movement globally by getting them involved as well. The more support we can find abroad, the better. To find PNGs or GIFs that you can use to share the movement, there will be a link to the Hoodless Zelda Discord server in the description below, as well as a link to the Google Drive with all of the PNGs we have created for the movement. So start telling everyone. Start making memes and prepare for the 31st of October, because the day of reckoning is near, and when we all pitch together, Grezzo will hear our request. But until then, I've been your host, the Bread Pirate. Have fun storming the castle.